First of all, if you don't know who Dan is, he is the director and producer of The Age of Disclosure. Probably, at least in my lifetime, I'm 56, probably the most important documentary on UAPs, UFOs. How would you describe it? I mean, you can describe it better, Dan.
Yeah, look, I think it's a really unprecedented film. I'm very proud of it. I interviewed 34 really high level military, government, and intelligence officials who all broke their silence to reveal that there's been an 80-year cover up of the existence of non human intelligent life. And on top of that, they reveal that the elements of the US government that have been keeping this in secrecy have been involved in a high stakes Cold War technology race with adversarial nations like China and Russia, and the film reveals the stakes of this giant race we're in with our competitors. It's I think it's a really important film, and I think it answers a lot of questions people all over the world have had for years. Um, yeah, like you and millions of others. My curiosity in this topic comes from the pop culture I grew up with. I grew up in the '80s and '90s, and with movies like Close Encounters and ET and TV shows like X Files, and they piqued my curiosity about this topic. So it sort of like set me off on this lifelong interest, and and then I set off to make this doc about 4 years ago because I felt like this doc should exist, right? Like there should be a serious, credible documentary that tells us the truth, but no one ever pulled that off. So I kind of made it my mission to do that, and then one by one, convinced all these officials to take put trust in me, and to take comfort in the fact that I was making a serious film, and to have this be the platform where they break their silence and they speak up and share what they can.
And how were you able to get access to these guys? I mean, you just call them up and say, hey, I want to know what's going on, or how did this come about?
Oh no, of course it was a process. My core business the last 20 years before I went made this movie has been producing in mainstream Hollywood. So I've been fortunate to be involved in some really great projects, high profile films and TV shows. One of the things I'm most proud of is I was one of the producers of Ready Player One, the big Steven Spielberg blockbuster,
That's right.
and I started doing research for this documentary after Ready Player One. And sure, I mean, of course, it helps you get credibility as a filmmaker if you've made a big movie and collaborated with the greatest
Spielberg.
filmmaker of all time,
Right.
Steven Spielberg. Um, Certainly that helps validate a young up and coming filmmaker like myself. And so um, yeah, I just when I was doing research early on, it was reaching out, finding some connections I had to people in DC or in the intelligence community. Early on, it was a few of the intelligence officials in my film that I met and formed relationships with. After those relationships were formed and I had like a real trusting relationship, they started to open up some other doors for me, and then those doors opened other doors. And it's really going down a rabbit hole is really the best analogy, because that's what it was like. Everyone I would meet, once I would share my vision. I wanted to make a really serious, credible film that has no sensationalism.
Not
Only
making
interview
anybody look
people who have,
stupid or anything like that for admitting
yeah,
it,
no,
right?
no, not like anything we've ever seen before on any of the TV networks or streaming
Wow.
platforms. Something incredibly serious, sober. Um, I promised I would only interview people who have direct knowledge of this topic as a result of working for the U.S. government. There wouldn't be any exception. There wouldn't be any, quote unquote, cool Hollywood casting. We just throw someone in there because it sounds good.
Cool. Right on.
Only people who have direct knowledge of this topic as a result of working for the U.S. government in some capacity. And as I started to socialize that, what I was trying to pull off, not only did it catch wind, but what I didn't know was happening behind the scenes at the time was a number of the people who are aware of the truth were looking for a way to bring it out, and they didn't have it. None of them wanted to go out on a limb on their own as one guy on a CNN or a Fox interview and be the one guy out on a limb saying these extraordinary things.
Right.
And they were actively brainstorming how to bring what could be shared out to the public in a way that was safe for all of them. And then I was there at the right place at the right time presenting this
Wow.
film.
The universe
And
provided you to them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then collectively, everyone I interviewed really latched on to the fact that this was a unique opportunity. I was making the film independently, totally in secrecy. I wasn't involving mainstream Hollywood. Um, I had a very strict sort of moral code I was going by here. And and they all felt, comfortable with it. And then at a certain point, uh, my film became the chosen vehicle for disclosure, for these people to be able to speak up and share what they lawfully could in a way they never had before.
And I know our state representative here, Burleson, is part of that UAP task force. He seems to be really pushing. In fact, he's trying to go to, is it South Korea, I think, because there's supposedly a craft that's so big they couldn't move it, so they had to enclose it. He's trying to get funding for that.
He's been amazing. Unfortunately, I didn't meet him until after we had finished the film, so he's not interviewed in
That'll
the
be
film.
part two. That'll be part two, man.
But I do have clips of him speaking at congressional hearings in the film, and he and I become friends, and we talk pretty regularly. He's been all over this issue on behalf of both his constituents and just
Yeah, when he's been here in my studio,
Sure.
he's a super cool cat. He's actually from our town here, so we've had him in here several times.
He's a great guy, and he's been all over this issue, and he's been super supportive of the importance of this film and how it opens the public's eyes to the truth in a way that no congressional hearing or anything else ever could. He's really actively been encouraging people on social media to watch the film and have their eyes open to the truth and what's been going on here. He's definitely emerged as, I would say, one of the like 3 or 4 most active members of Congress on this topic, and he's really, pursuing the truth. Solid guy. You guys are lucky to have him.
Well, we like what you're doing, and the movie is The Age of Disclosure. It's available to rent on Amazon Prime. I think it's like one of the best sellers on Amazon as well.
Yeah, I'm proud to say the movie's really broken out. It's the best-selling documentary of all time on Prime Video, actually.
Wow.
Really excited about that.
And Obama just the other day in an interview said aliens are real. Did you catch any of that? And then he kind of backtracked
I saw that. It's pretty amazing to see him talking like that. And, it's definitely, I think the film has really sort of kicked off a national conversation where we're going to start to see a lot more senior people stepping up and talking about this.
Last thing, what would you say for somebody who's maybe like my girlfriend, who's a non-believer or who thinks this is all just wacky talk? What would you say to somebody like that to maybe get them to watch your film or perhaps on just the topic in general?
I mean, honestly, I think this film is built for people like that. Watch this film, and if you still don't think something's going on, I'd be shocked, and I think so would a lot of other people. But this is the film to watch if you're curious about this topic, and if you want to know what's really going on without the sensationalism and conspiracy. This is 34 very high level members of the government, the military, the intelligence community, all putting their reputation on the line to share what they can. And that list includes, our Secretary of State, sitting senators on both sides of the aisle, generals, admirals, White House National Security Council members, Navy fighter pilots. They're all completely in sync on what they're saying, despite having ideological and political differences.
Yeah, it is very cool that it's kind of you taking this and it's bipartisan. There's no left or right on this thing. It's everybody says, hey, there's something going on and we need to find out more. I'll be excited for when part 2. Hopefully you're already assembling part 2, because when the actual disclosure does come, you're the guy, man.
Thanks, man. We've been thinking about it, but these things are a process and they take a long time.
I can only imagine, man. Well, thank you so much, man, for taking some time, and hey, go out there and get the movie, and I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
All right.